Using debt to create wealth. Good debt versus bad debt. Among the laypeople of the financial world, the word debt has intense negative connotations. And this isn't unjustified, as mismanaged debt can easily lead to ruin. However, the financial world has been set up so that debt cannot be taken out of the equation totally. Even the absolute wealthiest people and richest organizations incur debt from time to time so as to conduct their business. In this video, we're going to clarify the differences between good debt and bad debt. We're also going to demonstrate how you can use debt to create wealth. Before we dive in, though, make sure to like and subscribe. You wouldn't want to miss out on any of our awesome content. All right, so before we get into the thick of things, let's go over some basic concepts. First off, what exactly is debt? Well, fundamentally speaking, debt is something, usually money, which is borrowed by one party from another. Debt allows the borrower to gain greater financial capabilities with the stipulation that they pay back the debt to the lender at a given time, and usually at an interest. As we just mentioned, debt exists to increase the borrower's financial capabilities. Different people incur debt for different reasons. Low-income individuals might incur debt just to survive the month or the day. For high-income individuals, it might all be about making big money moves. This could include completing high-profile acquisitions or making large investments. In either case, the consequences for defaulting on debt could be similarly devastating. At all levels of the income ladder, you can lose everything you own if you're not smart about how you handle your debt. So, now that we've covered the basics of debt, what's all this about good debt and bad debt? I mean, based on the picture we just painted, you wouldn't really think those kinds of nuances can exist, would you? Well, the idea of good debt and bad debt is a higher financial concept, which only the most prudent people know and make good use of. And ahead, we will be breaking it down in depth. So, the difference between good debt and bad debt is pretty simple, actually. Good debt is something that will make you money, while bad debt is a liability that will lose you money. Good debt is typically considered as an investment. On the other hand, bad debt cannot be considered an investment whatsoever. Good debt will usually pay itself back, and then some. Bad debt, though, will just see you incurring more debt. And so, from this breakdown, we are beginning to have a fair idea of what constitutes good debt and what constitutes bad debt. However, to broaden our understanding, let's consider some examples. So, examples of good debt include mortgages, student loans, and car loans. Why are these things categorized that way? After all, they can cost much and can transform into financial obligations which hang over your head for years. And so, what makes them good debt? Well, the first thing you should understand is that if debt could be avoided altogether, it would. Nevertheless, people willingly incur debt of this sort so as to maximize their earning potential. Take mortgages, for instance. These are debts incurred from banks so as to come into possession of a piece of real estate. This piece of real estate could be for your own personal use, in which case it would be providing you a place of rest and shelter while you attend to your other work. Or it could be used as a rental property, where the profits quickly justify the costs. Moving on to student loans, well, the best quality of education is usually the most expensive and most demanding of student loans. If you took out a student loan to pay for your education, then you must have done so with the knowledge that whatever skills and expertise you would be acquiring would allow you to get a source of income that would allow you to easily pay off those loans. And so, student loan debt is a great example of good debt. And, at last, we consider car loans. There's no denying that car loans can be a burden, especially for luxury cars that serve no real purpose beyond showing off. However, when you take out a car loan so as to help you facilitate the execution of your work, then you would have made a great decision. In time, what profits you get will take care of the car loan. So, from the analysis of these types of good debt, a clear pattern emerges. Good debt is backed by critical thought, with the understanding that the debt is taken as an investment. Good debt has a clear idea of how it's going to pay itself back and make more money. Good debt is, in a nutshell, good. Now, let's consider some examples of bad debt. All money taken out to pay for liabilities can be considered as bad debt. However, two of the most common examples are credit card debt and high-interest loans. First, let's consider high-interest loans. Why are these bad? Well, High-interest loans are high interest for a reason. This is because they are quick to acquire. But that quickness comes with a cost. They come with high interest rates, which will see to it that you will pay the lender way more than what was borrowed. Sometimes you can pay up to 400% of what was borrowed. Next, we have credit card debt. The reason why this is a bad debt is because of the nature of purchases that credit cards facilitate. Credit cards are hardly used to pay for investments. Instead, they are used to make materialistic everyday purchases. It is prudent to avoid putting yourself in debt while making purchases of everyday items. Debt should, as much as possible, be directed towards investments. Okay, so now we move on to our most important segment. How exactly do you use debt to create wealth? If you have been paying attention, then the answer should be pretty obvious to you. It's all about investments. Whatever debt you incur should have a clear strategy of how it's going to pay itself back and generate profit for you. So, what kinds of investments should you be making so as to create wealth? Well, there are different answers to that question. However, we're going to be discussing the common principles on a micro level and on a macro level. That way, you can apply those principles to different tenets of your financial life whenever you want. So, the macro-level principles have been covered extensively already. You just need to establish a clear line between what you borrow and how it's going to pay off. The first change you need to make is one of mentality. Without the right mentality, all of these other principles are going to fail for you. You need to think very clearly about what it is you are spending money on. Is the cost worth it? Is the item worth it? Will your finances be fine after the purchase? Some might call this miserly thinking. However, it's all about financial prudence. You should also be thinking about your debt payoff strategy as well. After all, using the classification of good debt and bad debt, it should be clear that not all debts count the same. One thing you absolutely should not do should be to obtain good debt in order to pay off bad debt. It's not a wise strategy, and you would only be wasting your money. Another micro principle is to pay attention to how much you borrow. Whether a debt is excessive or not depends on what it is used to purchase rather than how much you spend. Spending $10,000 on stock is better than spending $10,000 on a diamond ring. One is an asset and the other is a liability. You need to keep your debt-to-income ratio below 35% of your income. Otherwise, you'll be flirting dangerously with poverty. So now, let's move on to the micro level. Where the macro level was concerned with mindset and general money management, the micro level is concerned with steps you can take and activities you can engage in to make money. This will include things like buying stock, getting in real estate, starting a side business, and so on. It all depends on what you have an interest in and what you feel capable of accomplishing. Just keep in mind that no pain, no gain. In all this, it is important to pay off your debts as quickly as possible. You don't need to avoid debt altogether, as that is virtually impossible in today's financial world. You just need to make sure you're smart about the debts you take out and how you intend to pay for them. Paying off your debts consistently could increase your credit score. This, as we all know, will allow you to have broader financial opportunities. On the other hand, failing to pay off your debts can ravage your credit score and throw you into poverty. You will dig yourself into a hole from which there is no escape. So, wrapping this all up, it's pretty clear how you can use debt to create wealth. Avoiding bad debt in favor of good debt is only the beginning. At advanced levels, good debt will transform into an asset, similar to stock or options. Coming to the end of this video, we hope you appreciate how debt can be used to build wealth. Not all wealth is bad, and by leveraging good debt, we can generate more opportunities for ourselves. It's a double-edged sword, sure, but it's nothing about expertise and experience can't handle well. Well, that's all for today. To learn more, please check out other videos on this channel. We have a great catalog of videos intended to keep you informed, engaged, and entertained. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share if you like the video. Doing so supports the channel and lets us keep coming at you with the awesome content. Until next time, have a good day. Catch you later.